Hey everyone, it's Carissa here from Black Dog School of Yoga. And today I have a class about when you've had a day. So, this is like you've had a day, you come home from a long day of work. This was born after a long day of work, and I had had a day. And my boyfriend and I wanted to get into a philosophical debate about the nature of love. So, I thought Carissa needs yoga. So I grabbed a chair. I have one of these yoga chairs at home. There's a link at the bottom of our page. If you guys like chair practice, I highly, highly recommend getting one of these. Just the structure of the chair is really nice. But I wanted to make sure that anybody could do it because the idea is yoga is practical. So yoga is not this crazy performance of like, can I do a handstand and all these crazy poses? It's when you get home from a day and your boyfriend wants to get in a philosophical debate about some shit. Then you can grab anything in your house and be able to do this. So this is just 4 or 5 poses, really simple. You'll need a wall and a chair, and we're ready to go. All right, so first thing you're going to do is you're going to lay across your chair. And you can put a blanket if the edge of your chair is really sharp. I'm just going to go ahead and do one without, but blanket, towel, anything will work. And you want the bottom tips of your shoulder blade to go right on the edge of the chair. So I'm just going to lay myself down and then kind of scooch around until I can find the bottom tips of my shoulder blades right at the edge of the chair. So that's just going to give you a little bit of support for a back bend here. Then you extend your legs nice and long, the soles of the feet down, so you even get a nice little stretch in the hip flexors, and then you're just going to let your head drop back. Grab for opposite elbows if you can, so really make a ball and mitt fit where the pointy part of your elbow fits perfectly into your palm, and then you're just going to drop your arms overhead. Oh, and this feels so freaking fantastic. So you're opening the lungs, the front side of the body, which after you've had a day, probably lots of rounding, lots of agitation. So we really want to open up the front line of the body. We want to let fresh air in and stale air out. So that's the function and the work of the lungs. And then you just find your breath. And the more you find your breath and the more you let your body settle onto the chair, maybe you even get a nice little back crack. And then switch elbows so that you are equal and balanced on both sides. Again, being well fit, elbow into the palm of your hand. Reach your arms up overhead. Make sure you're finding the center of each foot, that you're not rolling more into the big toe or to the pinky toe, but that you're right at the center. And then again, use your breath to relax your body into the structure of the chair. So you might even get a little crack in the back. And breathe. One more breath. And then to come out of this, let your head stay dangling. Reach onto whatever you can grab onto the chair. Bend the knees and start to bring your chest up, but your head is going to be the last thing to come up. And then take a moment because you might get a little bit of a blood rush. Then sit up at a 90-degree angle because the 90-degree angle is stable. So ankles underneath the knees, hips at the knee distance, shoulder right above the hips, and imagine the soft spot on your head when you're a baby. Imagine that moving all the way up to the ceiling so you get some nice length, and just reorient into this new space. And maybe that's enough for you today. Maybe you're like, great, back bend over the chair, awesome. Remember, yoga is practical. Take what you need and use it how you want to make your body feel better. We're going to move on to the next pose. So you're going to go ahead and stand on the chair, and this is where you'll need the wall behind you. So your butt is going to go on the chair. And then you're going to take 2 fists and measure in between your feet, not the bunions, because those change over time. Also not the heels, but right in the center of the arch, and that's how you know your hips width distance. Now your knees are going to be nice and bent. I'm going to turn sideways so you guys can see here if you'd like. My knees are so bent that my ribs are sandwiched. They're squeegeed to my thighs. I don't know if squeegeed is the right word. That's like what you do in the shower. But right ribs right to your thighs. Good. Make a good connection. Then you've got your butt on the wall. So that gives you a little bit of feedback to then scrub your butt up the wall as you bring your torso further down towards your legs. And then depending on what kind of chair you have, you can grab onto maybe the back of the chair, the underside of the chair seat, the front of the legs, anything that you can pull on. So you'll pull up to bring yourself lower. And boy, does that feel good. So think continuing to scrub from the backs of the knees up towards the butt. The butt physically scrubs along the wall. And then you let your head dangle completely down and use the chair to pull yourself into your legs. Notice if your knees are knocking together. I notice mine are a little bit, so I'm just going to widen them out so they go more towards the armpit, and then pull yourself in nice and deep. So we got a back bend, opening up the front of the lungs, and then we go into ourselves with a nice forward fold. And then we're just going to take it back and forth. So inhale, find a halfway lift, and I want you to put your hands on the front of the chair. And then really press your hands into your chair so you bring your heart forward and your shoulders just slightly slide down the back of your body. So I'm not like squeezing, I'm not using muscular engagement to squeeze my shoulder blades together. I'm just using my hands pressing on the chair to bring my heart forward and my shoulders back. And then exhale, you're going to fold, round, tuck chin to chest, and pull yourself in, butt goes towards the wall. Inhale, halfway lift, press your hands to the front of the chair, look forward, heart goes forward, shoulders go back, and then exhale, round, butt to wall. And then just take that a couple more times through, getting into your breath. Inhale, lift. Exhale, round. Inhale, lift. And last time, exhale, round. Good. Then from here, take your left leg to one side of the chair, your right leg to the other side of the chair so that you're straddling the chair. And this just kind of depends on how wide the chair seat is. So this one, the chair seat is rather wide. The other one, the metal one that I have, is a little bit narrower. And then just take your feet a little bit wider than the chair and put your toes at about 2 o'clock and 10 o'clock. Good. And then from here, you're going to walk your fingertips out onto the floor, or if you have blocks, if you have mason jars, if you have books, if you have water bottles, anything, you can put your hands right on the blocks or chair, or blocks or floor. Good. And then from here, we're just going to do the same thing. So imagine just like the same action of pressing your hand into the chair. Imagine dragging your fingertips along your block or the floor or water bottles or whatever you have to bring your heart forward and your shoulders back. And then exhale, you're going to round and tuck your chin to your chest. And really puff up the space between the shoulder blades as if you're trying to get your heart to move towards the back of the body. And then inhale, come forward. And then exhale, go back. Good. One more time. Inhale, come forward. Wonderful. Now find the center of the feet. If you can, reach back and maybe grab for the back legs of the chair, maybe grab for the front of the chair, wherever you can get a hold of. But this is going to require a massive amount of pressing through the center of the feet, and then you're going to reach your heart forward, stretch your spine nice and long. And again, you can grab the front of the chair and do the same thing. Wherever you can grab a hold on that feels good for the body. And then come up, release out of that. We're going to do one more thing here. So rotate towards the side. Pull your chair away from the wall so you have a little bit of space. And then take your right leg through the back of the chair, wherever that is. And then I want you to hook the heels around the front of the chair. Hook the heels around the front of the chair and then find the press of the center of the foot down. Then you're going to grab on to the chair, the back of the chair. Take an inhale breath and then exhale, twist. Good. And don't go your furthest twist yet. Go a little bit, but then work to even the hips. So your left hip is going to come back and your right hip is going to go forward. And then once you find your left hip at left and your right hip at right, Inhale, the baby soft spot of the head goes up, and then exhale, twist, twist, twist. Remembering to keep the left hip to its own side. So left hip goes back, right hip goes forward. Good. And then release. We'll switch to the other side. So swing around to the left hip faces the wall, and then work your leg in through the back of the chair. Hook the heels. That just gives you a little bit more feedback on keeping your hips even. So this time the right hip goes back, the left hip goes forward. Grab onto the back of the chair. Inhale, lift, and then exhale, twist. Don't twist as far as you can go yet. Reorient the hips, pulling the right hip back, left hip forward, and then reach the crown of the head up, and then exhale, twist a little bit deeper. Good. And then release. Come all the way to center. That's all I got for you guys. Stay tuned. If you like this video, then give us the thumbs up and hit the subscribe button so you get more. And if there's a scenario in your life, like you stepped on your child's Lego or you slipped on ice or whatever it might be, then shoot us a note and we'll make you a video for that. Have a great day, you guys.